Have you ever heard of an object so mysterious, so controversial, that it has captivated believers, skeptics, and scientists for centuries? Today, we're diving deep into the story of one of the most famous and debated relics in history, the Shroud of Turin. What is it? Is it the authentic burial cloth of Jesus Christ, or is it a masterful medieval forgery? Let's unravel the threads of this incredible story together. The Shroud of Turin is a linen cloth, about 14 feet long and 3.5 feet wide, bearing the faint sepia-toned image of a crucified man. The image is remarkably detailed, showing the front and back of a tall bearded man with long hair. It depicts wounds consistent with crucifixion as described in the Bible, marks from a crown of thorns, scourging across the back, nail wounds in the wrists and feet, and a piercing in the side. For millions of believers, this is a sacred relic, a silent witness to the suffering and resurrection of Jesus. Our modern story of the Shroud begins in the mid-1350s in a small town in France called Lyry. A respected French knight named Geoffroy de Charny presented this cloth for public veneration. He claimed it was the true burial shroud of Christ. Immediately, it drew huge crowds and became a major pilgrimage attraction. But it also sparked immediate controversy. The local bishop, Pierre d'Arcas, was highly skeptical. He investigated and wrote a report to the Pope, claiming that the shroud was a cunningly painted forgery. He even said he had found the artist who created it, though he never named them. This early debate set the stage for centuries of conflict between faith and skepticism. Despite the controversy, the shroud's fame grew. In 1578, it was moved to its current home in Turin, Italy, where it's housed in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. For centuries, it was only displayed on rare occasions, adding to its mystique. The real turning point in its modern history came in 1898. An amateur photographer named Secondo Pia was allowed to take the first-ever photograph of the shroud. When he was developing the glass plate negatives in his darkroom, he made a startling discovery. The image on the shroud was actually a negative. The faint markings on the cloth, when reversed in the photographic process, revealed a clear, detailed, and lifelike positive image of a man. It was like seeing a ghost emerge from the darkness. This discovery was shocking. How could a medieval forger have created a perfect photographic negative centuries before photography was even invented? This single event reignited interest in the shroud and launched a new era of scientific inquiry. Throughout the 20th century, the shroud was subjected to intense study. Scientists were fascinated by the nature of the image. How was it formed? It's not paint, dye, or any known pigment. The image is incredibly superficial, affecting only the topmost fibers of the linen threads. It doesn't soak through the cloth. Some theories proposed it was created by a chemical reaction, perhaps from oils and spices used in ancient burial rites, or even a burst of radiation. In 1978, a team of American scientists, the Shroud of Turin Research Project, or STURP, was granted unprecedented access to the cloth. After 5 days of non-destructive testing, they concluded that the image was not the work of an artist. They couldn't explain how the image was formed, but they could confidently say it wasn't painted. They found traces of human blood on the cloth, specifically type AB, which is common in the Middle East. This seemed like a huge point in favor of authenticity. But the biggest scientific challenge was yet to come. In 1988, the Vatican authorized radiocarbon dating to determine the age of the cloth. Small samples were taken from a corner of the shroud and sent to 3 independent laboratories in Oxford, Zurich, and Arizona. The results were announced with great anticipation. All 3 labs came to the same conclusion. The linen cloth dated from the period between 1260 and 1390 AD. This perfectly matched the time when Geoffroy de Charny first displayed it. For many, this was the final nail in the coffin. The Shroud of Turin was a medieval creation, a brilliant and mysterious one, but not the 2,000-year-old burial cloth of Jesus. The case seemed closed. But was it? The story doesn't end there. Believers and even some scientists began to question the carbon dating results. They pointed out that the sample was taken from a corner of the shroud that had been repeatedly handled over the centuries, and had been repaired by nuns after a fire in 1532. Could this corner have been a medieval patch, woven into the original cloth? Proponents of this theory argue that this invisible reweaving contaminated the sample, making it appear much younger than the main body of the shroud. They also point to other evidence, like the type of Weava 3:1 herringbone twill, which was rare in medieval Europe but known in the Middle East in the 1st century. Pollen grains found on the cloth have been identified as coming from plants native to the Jerusalem area, some of which are now extinct. So, where does that leave us? We have two sets of compelling, yet contradictory, evidence. On one hand, the definitive carbon-14 dating points to a medieval origin. On the other hand, the nature of the image itself defies all attempts at explanation. How could a medieval artist create a photographic negative with three-dimensional information encoded in it? If it's a forgery, it's a work of genius unlike anything else from that period. If it's authentic, it's a miracle. The debate continues to rage. New theories are constantly proposed. Some suggest it was created by a natural process involving a chemical reaction on the cloth. Others propose it was formed by a flash of light or radiation, tying it back to the moment of resurrection. Regardless of its origin, the Shroud of Turin holds immense power. For many Catholics and Christians, the scientific debate is secondary. They see it as a powerful icon, a symbol of Jesus' passion, death, and resurrection. It's a tool for meditation and a tangible link to their faith. Even if it were proven to be a medieval creation, its ability to inspire devotion and contemplation is undeniable. It forces us to confront the central mysteries of the Christian faith. The shroud doesn't offer easy answers. Instead, it invites questions. It challenges our assumptions about science, history, and faith. Is it a miraculous relic, a brilliant fake, or something else entirely that we don't yet understand? Perhaps the greatest power of the Shroud of Turin lies not in what it proves, but in the mystery it preserves. What do you think? Is the Shroud of Turin the real deal, or a masterpiece of medieval art? Let me know your theories and thoughts in the comments below. It's a fascinating puzzle with no clear solution, and that's what makes it so enduring. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into fascinating topics. See you next time.